see everybody today. Hope you guys had a good weekend. This week, we're going to be finishing up our module on takedowns. So over the last 2 weeks, we've been working on several takedown options that we've been systemizing to create like a family tree of options for us. Because if we think about takedowns, takedowns inherently are less effective for beginners because they require more energy. Okay? It's like a big risk versus reward type of ordeal. So generally we recommend pulling guard in the beginning. However, it's important to know how to use takedowns, and one of the easiest ways to do that is to create a system. So far, we've looked at our double leg, single leg, the body lock from the rear body lock, and of course the collar drag, which is what we worked on last week. This week, we're gonna finish up our sort of takedown module by talking about 2 more options. Tonight, we're gonna be talking about the arm drag, which will again take us to the body lock. And then on Thursday, we're going to be finishing up by working on pulling guard, because pulling guard is a technique that you actually need to work. If you don't know how to pull guard effectively, then you're simply not learning an aspect of Jiu Jitsu. Tonight, however, we're going to be working on the arm drag, which will take us to the body lock. From there, we're going to be working on 2 new options. Last time, if you recall, we worked on twisting our opponent to the mat and dragging our opponent to the mat. And today, we'll do a couple more options, which will take us immediately right to the back. First things first, though, I'd like to just demonstrate our arm drag from the feet, and then we're going to use this entry as our warm-up. Okay, guys, so I'm going to be facing my partner first. We're disengaged. We've not yet made contact with our partner. I'm going to demonstrate the arm drag, and then we'll break it down. Here we go. So this is our arm drag, taking us to a rear body lock. Most of you, hopefully, are familiar with the arm drag because the collar drag is kind of similar, right? We're dragging our partner past us and getting behind them. Now, with the arm drag, we very often teach this from the guard. And this can be done from the guard, but we're working on it from the feet today to just give us another option with our takedowns. Again, perhaps my opponent is really, really good at sprawling and defending shots. So maybe I'm a little bit wary and conservative about shooting underneath him. So I could use my arm drag to help me attack different takedown positions. So let's look first at our arm drag as our basic setup. So we're starting here in our good wrestling stance. I'm going to be reaching same hand to same hand. So I'm not reaching across like a handshake. I'm reaching same hand to same hand, and I want to control his wrist. Now, when we do the arm drag, there's many ways to arm drag my partner. A lot of times you'll be shown where we grab the wrist. This is not bad. However, we like to grab the meat of the thumb. So if my partner opens up his hand, if Coach Seth opens his hand here, you can see the thumb pad is this big meaty part. That's what I want to actually grab onto. The reason for that is because that offers me control over his hand. I'm not simply trying to control his wrist. If we control the wrist, like we looked at a few weeks ago, he can simply roll his wrist out and break the grip. So what I'm doing is I'm grabbing the meat of the thumb. Now as he tries to circle his hand, I stay connected to it. Now, the only thing you need to remember is that we're never allowed to grab individual digits. So you're not grabbing an individual digit. I'm not literally grabbing his thumb. This would not be a good grip, right? This is not going to offer me much control. I'm grabbing the meat of his thumb. So again, starting here, I'm going to reach straight forward and grab the meat of his thumb. And notice how I'm actually kind of pushing it towards him. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to use a ratchet lever effect. So I'm framing his arm towards him, which creates a bent elbow. Once I've created a bent elbow, this is what we call a ratchet lever. So it's a lever that affects the rotation of another lever. So by pulling his elbow towards me, it's going to internally rotate my partner's shoulder, which will pull him past me. Now, I don't want to stay here. Just like with our collar drag, I'm moving around him. So as I pull him towards me, I'm stepping to my left. Okay, so like I'm trying to step behind him. Here. Immediately look, I can go hand to the hip, and I walk behind to get to my body lock. It's the exact same body lock that we were working on last week. So again, we'll rotate a little bit here. Again, we're just going to work this for our warm-up. I want you guys to do a couple reps, maybe 2 or 3 reps before you switch. So we're here. I'm going to reach straight, grab his wrist. Again, I'm pushing it towards him. The reason that we really like to encourage pushing the arm is because it eliminates the strength battle that can often happen with the arm drag. A lot of times people will do this. I'll grab him, and then look, he can grab me, and now what is it? It's a strength battle. Who's stronger, me or him? That's the person that's going to win the arm drag. So you'll see a lot of times beginners will do this. No, no. And then eventually just one person overpowers the other. Remember, you want to eliminate natural attributes from the equation. Okay? I don't want my natural attributes to either hinder me or benefit me necessarily in the beginning. I want to rely on my technique. Okay? So again, I'm not trying to have a battle of strength with this person. I'm trying to push, grab the inside of their bicep here. Now, as I'm pulling that elbow towards me, I'm thinking like I'm dragging him past me and slightly down. So it's past and down slightly, like I'm buckling my seatbelt in my car. So I go here, and look, immediately I'm finding his hip, and I turn the corner. Woo! Landed right on his back. And in case you're unfamiliar with the body lock is simply hooking his hips and then connecting my hands together in a gable grip. We want to keep our head nice and low, okay? We always tell guys, don't do the prom pose, or you're like standing behind your partner and posing for prom, okay? I'm still in my grappling stance, so see? I'm still here, I'm just behind him, okay? Connecting, ear to his back, strong gable grip. Okay, I'll show an arm drag a couple times. So this is what I want you guys to do. Arm drag, get behind them, and then just reset and do it again. So we'll go like 3 times, and then on the third, freeze. Get the body lock, okay? So like 3 times, and then on the third one, you can go ahead and freeze and solidify your body lock. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, remember, take your time. You don't have to rush on this one. Don't just try to like throw them over your shoulder. Focus on dragging, pulling them past you, and then connecting to a strong body lock. All right, guys, let's pair up. Let's go. 1, 2. Does anybody have any questions on our arm drag that we used here for the warm-up? Just a very basic entry to the arm drag. Quick note before we actually look at our back takes from here. The arm drag is similar to the collar drag, obviously, right? It's in the name. You're dragging them past you. But it's also similar in the sense that it can be used as a sort of transition to different takedowns, okay? So for example, I might use my arm drag to set up my double leg, or I might use my arm drag to set up my single leg. Here we're using the arm drag to go right to our partner's back because again, if possible, we always want to get behind our partner. Now, again, we're here, I'm creating a push-pull reaction. So I frame and push their arm forward, creating the ratchet lever, I pull, and as I pull, I'm taking a short step as I'm dragging him down. I find his hip, I turn the corner. One thing I mentioned to a group was it's okay if this arm gets locked in with the body lock, that's fine, okay? Either option, here or here. This doesn't make a huge difference. Now, if you were with us last week, we worked on our body lock. From the body lock, we had 2 different takedown options. The first one is where we dragged them to the mat by blocking their knee and dragging. The second option is where we did our switch step here. We sat them and we twisted them over. Both of these were mat returns because I was getting their hips down to the mat. I wasn't necessarily immediately taking their back. Tonight, that's going to be our goal. Our goal is to immediately take our partner's back. Hooks, seatbelt, the whole 9. Now, in case you're curious, I don't want you to just do this. Just jump on their back. Why? Obviously, I got hooks and seatbelt. This can sometimes be an illegal movement, right, where I'm jumping to a position. But more importantly than that, it's dangerous. There's a lot of falling body weight that can go awry very easily because my feet are off the mat. The second my feet come off the floor, I no longer have base. Now I'm relying on my partner to support me. If they don't do that, now it's just an accident waiting to happen. So instead, we're going to look at 2 options to take our partners back from here. The first one is going to be what we call a Rafa hook, okay? It's named after Rafa Mendes. He's my personal favorite Jiu Jitsu fighter, and he liked to use this back take a lot. So again, I'm going to be starting here from the body lock. I'm going to show this one slowly, and then we'll break it down. Here we go. And I immediately get to my partner's back, hooks and seatbelt. So with this particular option, I'll just start here from the body lock. With this particular option, just like when we dragged our partner to the mat, I'm going to create that T, that sort of 90-degree turn. So I'm going to walk my hips 90 degrees. And now from here, I'm going to transition 2 different parts of my body. I'm going to transition my lower half and my upper half. It doesn't necessarily matter the order, okay? We're going to transition both pieces. First, my legs. I'm going to take my right foot, the leg that's in front of my partner's body, and I'm going to weave it towards the back knee. So I'm going to weave my foot towards his back knee. Now I'm going to take my upper half and I'm going to switch from a body lock to a seatbelt. Now from this position, I need to get my partner down to the mat. How am I going to do that? Well, number 1, I don't want to go into him because I'm on the side of his knee. That could be dangerous. This is not a dangerous movement so long as you do the right pathway, right? I'm trying to take him forward. Okay, so again, I insert this hook. I'm going to just start hopping forward. How does this work? I'm blocking his leg, his right leg here. I'm blocking it. I'm putting a wall in front of it. So I'm just going to start hopping forward. He can't step with that leg, and he's going to fall forward, and I'm already on the back. So again, I'm here. I'm going to start hopping. and I'm behind him. Now, if we back up a little bit towards the center, once you land, you may need to make a slight hip adjustment, as we do with all of our back takes. If your hip angle is off, meaning if you're more like perpendicular with your partner, the top hook can be difficult. So if that's the case, remember, top foot on the mat, hip escape away, and then you can throw in the top hook. Alrighty guys, so again, we'll rotate. Start with the arm drag. Again, if I'm trapping, that's fine because I'm going to be going to the seatbelt anyways. So for the Rafa hook, again, I'm going to switch, insert the hook, come to seatbelt. Hop, 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 take him in front of me. Again, if I can't put in the top hook, it's because your hip angle is off. So look, foot on the mat, scoot your butt backwards, and then put your hook in. Let me show this again from the rear, so that way you guys can see how I'm getting to the back and turning to get the angle for the Rafa hook. So we'll just start here with the arm drag. Okay, so I drag, I get behind, I make my angle, and I weave that foot through. Again, don't just fall forward. And I'm not trying to take him backwards, okay? If I start to go backwards, he can just extract this leg and center up with me. Here, okay? So I'm taking him straight forward. Seatbelt, and then hop, hop, hop. Take him to the front, hip escape, hooks go in. Alrighty guys, I'll show one more time without talking. Here we go. Alrighty, this is our Rafa hook. Any questions? All right, guys, go slow. Okay, top person, you're just gonna kind of fall forward. So just remember, don't catch yourself 90 degrees. Just kind of unravel to the mat, and they'll take your back. 1, 2. Does anybody have any questions on the Rafa hook back take? Pretty simple in concept. Just one thing that, as always, we mentioned this last time we were doing body lock takedowns, but some important safety stuff. Remember, if you're falling, if you're the one falling, careful with overly trying to defend and catch yourself, right? A lot of times guys will be falling and they'll weirdly stick a leg out in a weird way, and then their body weight falls over top their knee and they blow out their MCL or whatever. So remember, when it comes to a fall, if you're falling, fall safely, right? Live to fight another day, okay? Don't just fight until your dying breath and then you get injured. We're gonna do one more option tonight for our body lock off of the arm drag, and that's gonna be the baby bolo. Okay, guys? Now, the baby bolo is a very simple back take. When you see it, it might look a little bit like, ooh, that's kind of cool, that's kind of wild. It's very, very easy, all right, guys? I'm gonna demonstrate the baby bolo, and then we'll break it down, all right? Here we go. So I'm gonna start with the arm drag. Now, slow motion from this position, I'm gonna demonstrate the baby bolo. Here we go. Now, let me explain the name first real quick, baby bolo. There's a technique in Jiu Jitsu called a berimbolo, and a berimbolo is a technique we generally do from like a De La Riva position, and we invert to go underneath our partner utilizing like a twister hook or a crab ride position to expose their back and get them on their back. There's a lot more steps in that one. So this is the baby version of that. This is the baby bolo. So it's a way easier version of the berimbolo. Now, anytime I'm behind my opponent, we're gonna be looking to get reverse butterfly hooks. So I'm behind them. Whereas our normal butterfly hooks are in front of our partner here, we're going to be behind our partner. But I still have my reverse butterfly hook. So I have an inside position with my feet, and my hooks are kicking outwards. A little bit of regulated tension. Now, we're starting with the arm drag to get to the rear body lock. Once I'm in the rear body lock, I'm actually gonna switch up my grips, just like we did before, but I'm gonna switch my hands to the belt. So I'm gonna go one at a time. 1 and 2. Okay, so my hands are just hooking right into the belt. If the belt is not currently tied, you can grab the drawstring of the pants, okay? So you just stick your fingers into the drawstring, not into their underwear if you can, and just grab the drawstring of the pants, right? That's the other option. So again, I'm grabbing the belt here. Notice how once I grab the belt, I'm gonna start to sit to my butt. This is where everyone, it's kind of like the make or break it point. I am not sitting and then doing this. Obviously, that was not a very good idea. What I'm doing is as I sit down, I'm gonna be getting my knee-elbow connection, my recumbent guard. My knees and my elbows are gonna go to each other. This is gonna allow me to get my inside position with my reverse butterfly hooks. So again, I'm in body lock, grab the belt, I'm gonna sit, and as I sit, I'm gonna pull his hips right on top of my shins. So look how Coach Seth is kind of very nicely, kind of floating on top of my shins. I have no pressure or weight on my body right now, It's all just held up by my shins. So my legs are supporting his body weight. Now from here, the actual back take mechanic is going to see me kicking him forward. As I kick him forward, I keep my face sideways because I don't want his back to hit me in the head. So again, I'm holding the belt. As I kick him forward, I push his hips down into my lap. And now from here, look, I have our chest to spine connection. Notice how my feet are still hooked behind his knees. We call these wedge hooks. Okay, when I have wedge hooks, my hooks are pushing out as my knees are pulling in. So this is gonna help isolate and control his legs. I'm gonna get my seatbelt, and now one hook at a time. I take out one hook, and I always fall to the hooked side because that's gonna be your bottom side hook. You always want the bottom hook in first. Okay, I'll fall towards you guys. So I'm always gonna put in one hook, fall towards that side, and then the second hook can go in. All right, so again from the feet, same arm drag, still getting to our rear body lock. Find my other options and just like nothing's really working for me, okay? It's like hard to move, it's hard to get my opponent to a position where I can take them down. So look, all I'm gonna do, find the belt, sit, kick them forward and grab the back. As soon as I'm here, remember, my feet are pushing out, my knees are turned in. Your partner should feel on their hips how it's kind of stuck. If I'm loose, look, see what he does? He fights. Keep it tight. Now one hook at a time. One hook, fall to that side, second hook. Okay, one more time without talking. Go from the front side here. Here we go. And now we're ready to start attacking. Alrighty guys, so again, we're going from the body lock straight to the back. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah, Dan.
Riding the momentum when you kick him forward?
Yep, that's how I'm sitting up easily. So I load him up, and now as I kick my feet, I'm kicking my feet straight forward, I'm sitting up with him, and I'm redirecting his hips down into my lap. But look how I keep my head sideways. If I hear, boom, I'm gonna break your nose, okay? So face sideways, and then immediately I get that seatbelt, strong wedge hooks, and then take the back. All right, guys, any other questions? Let's finish up with this. 1, 2.